just to make sure. I don't want to have a repeat of Pablo and I losing everything
How many times does that happen?
one time.
That's not so bad.
It was like a 2-hour podcast. It was bad.
You just had a good chat, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to make sure. I don't want to have a repeat of Pablo and I losing everything.
I
How many
like that
times does
my
happen?
desk is out of frame, so you can't see all
Okay,
the freaking
perfect.
like cups and bowls on it.
The audio works. So, welcome to Enter the Zeitgeist, episode 15. Enter the Zeitgeist is a podcast about two clueless 20-somethings and a guest. We're making a podcast, and we generally start with a topic, and then we swiftly go off the rails, usually within around 20 minutes, because that's the most interesting part of podcasts anyways. So today, we're joined by the beautiful boy down here, Tyler Gaffney. Great guy. He's a resident comic / superhero nerd, so I thought it was fitting to have him on. And then here's my co-host Pablo, and then I am John. So today's topic, at least to start with, before we go off the rails, we're going to be deconstructing the new hit animated TV show on Amazon Prime, Invincible. Pablo, Tyler, and I all binged this show in the past week. I binged it in about one day. So I think hopefully we have a lot to talk about. So, just to get us started off before we break into discussion, for those of you who have not seen Invincible, I recommend watching it. So here's a brief description. It's kind of like an alternate universe of like Marvel or DC mixed, I guess. It's just like it's like a play on the superhero like formula. But it tries to be very realistic because it's not realistic at all, but it tries to be very realistic in how its portrayal of like if superpower beings exist or like are beaten up or injured or like it's very violent basically. Whereas like Superman would punch someone and they would just like hit a wall and like fall down and be like, "Oh, I'll get you next time, Superman." In this, someone might just die, very violently and gruesomely. So I think it's a very good show. That's not the reason why it's a good show, but it's an interesting thing. What are your guys' thoughts? And do you think that it would be? Do you think the show has mass appeal?
Pablo, you can go first.
I think that it has mass appeal. Like when I was first watching it, like I had some of it like spoiled through TikTok or something like that. But my initial idea, I thought, was that this guy was beating like the crap out of his son because he just knows that like they're ultra powered beings or whatever, and
whoa. No spoilers, Pablo.
Well, okay.
Or maybe we should just get rid of the spoilers.
No. There's gonna be spoilers. Stop watching this if you're gonna watch Invincible because I want to talk about it. Anyway, like he's like beating the shit out of his son, and I thought that like that it was gonna be about like how if you are like all powerful, you have to bear all the responsibility of having power, like being able to do stuff. And like how much of your life is even your own at that point? Like can a human being even be so powerful that they have to bear all this responsibility? And so I was like watching it and I thought that's where it was going, because he was trying to have like this relationship that he just couldn't get to places on time because he was like saving people's lives. And then there was like this part where Omni-Man's like, I'm on vacation, I don't have to save these people, I'm on vacation with my wife, let this like Cecil like get his check. And I was like, okay, see, this is where this is going. It's like a kind of like, is Omni-Man evil for, keeping his own time, even though he's all powerful and can save everybody? But then it just completely took like a left turn. I mean, of course, like he killed like everybody near the beginning.
Yeah, that was a very drastic ending to the first episode.
Yeah. But like I felt like that was something that was kind of like happening, but it was not a completed like thought that was occurring.
Yeah, well, that's I think that's the issue as well because I agree. Like from the first episode where an Omni Man kills the Guardians of Jesus, I'm forgetting their names, but
Globe.
the Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah.
You're like, why did he do it? And like the entire first season, do we really have an answer to why he did it? Other than he's just like, I'm the best and these people suck?
We do at the end, I think, but you really, like, up until the last episode, you're still like, what the fuck? Why is this happening? I feel like that's like the driving desire for the viewer is to figure out like what we don't know.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of mystery the whole first season, and you just like get a really good tease in the first episode, and you're just like, oh my god, like what the fuck? Like I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
But like towards the end, I feel like, yeah. So we go like, I'll like narrate a little bit just since in case somebody hasn't seen the first season. So like we go through the first episode, and then the main character's dad is basically Superman, and he's like the kind of Superman that just has like no weakness basically. He seems great and everything seems fine, but then he murders like basically the Avengers equivalent in this universe. Just absolutely like it's probably the most messed up thing I've seen on TV. I don't know about you guys, but it also came out of nowhere.
Not what I expected from like an animated series on Amazon Prime, but I guess it was really
Yeah.
mature.
It was like very body horror-esque because they have like the drawn style of like basically Justice League Unlimited kind of. But then they immediately take it to a place of like, no, there's going to be very realistic body horror consequences to the kind of punching that this guy does. Like, there's like.
I was going into the first episode, so I had like a little bit spoiled for me, and I was just told like this is like the goriest show I've ever seen. And the whole first episode, up until like the last 5 minutes,
there's like not much gore
there's
at
nothing.
All. And then it
so
just
I'm
gets
just like,
turned
I
to
wonder
the
what
max.
they're talking about. And then like literally the first person he kills is the equivalent of the Flash called Red Rush, and he just basically does what
he does the
world's strongest man in Game of
he
Thrones.
He does the Mountain versus the Red Viper of Dorne, Game of Thrones style.
Just goes to the eyes,
crushes his head.
Yeah, it's brutal.
So here's another question as well. So Omni-Man being like later in the season, like later in the series, like Omni-Man just like bodies like everything basically. How come Omni-Man lost these Guardians of the Globe? Well, he didn't lose. He did kill all of them. But how come he even sustained this many injuries? This is what I don't like. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It was all the Guardians of the Globe. They were basically the best that the universe had the Earth had at that point, other than Omni-Man.
So like the Immortal, I believe, is like also the equivalent of Superman, but just not as good as Omni-Man. And he comes back. He comes back later because he gets like revived. And he just bodies him immediately. He's just like,
he had his head removed.
Like,
well, he's like in ultimate rage mode because basically he saw Omni-Man kill everybody, and he's immortal. He comes back, but like he's just not as strong as his problem. Like he can still be taken.
Well, yeah, but he did a lot more damage in the first episode, which I just don't.
I think it's because he fought all of the Guardians at once, and that was part of it. But I think you're right. I don't think they justified it enough to have him not just kill them all like with the snap of his fingers, like it seems like he could do in the end of the season.
I mean, I guess they just wanted him to be in the hospital or whatever, and then you're like, it was more mysterious that way, but it just doesn't make sense to me now looking back.
I think like when it came to it, like the Immortal guy was just like in rage mode, and that like kind of like upped his power story wise. But like at the beginning, like they like. The Guardians of the Globe were like the #1 force. They were better than the laser. They were better than like the giant like a Cthulhu like monster on steroids with like cybernetic enhancements or whatever. Like they were better than those things. It's just like they were just kind of like not really an equal match to Omni-Man because he completely slaughtered them. But like they did enough to tire him out, right? And or he could just have been faking like that he was like knocked out or something like that because it was necessary for him to be like, oh, I didn't kill them.
I guess that's what I was thinking, that he had just like taken a dive intentionally. Yeah, Red Rush definitely did the most